good morning, everyone. This is Jeanette Ives Erickson, and I'm the chair of the Commission on Magnet. As you know, I'm calling today on behalf of the Commission, as well as the Magnet Program office staff that you have been working with. In particular, our colleague who's online, Beth Prusky and Marguerite Smalls, as well as the appraiser team that you recently welcomed into your organization. The Commission has reviewed all of your submitted documentation and the findings from your site visit. As a result of the final review, it's my absolute honor and privilege to officially notify you that the Commission on Magnet has unanimously voted to credential Hospital for Special Surgery as a Magnet organization. This is your 5th designation. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
It's been a long year for all of you, for all of us. So it feels really good to be able to meet with you, to see you, to provide at least a moment of joy to celebrate all of the wonderful things that you have been doing, not only to keep each other safe, but on behalf of patients and families. I want to take a few minutes to describe for you some of the findings, not only as the Commission reviewed all of your submitted documentation, but also from what the surveyors found, the appraisers found when they visited your organization and spoke with staff and rounded, if you will, through this virtual site visit. I want you to take a moment to reflect on the fact that 10 exemplars were identified during the course of the site visit, and that says a lot about the great work that you have been doing. So let me begin. The first is that your unit level data for nurse satisfaction outperformed the national benchmark statistic and the comparison cohort for the 4 selected categories on 17 of 22 of your units. The second exemplar is that your unit level data for hospital acquired pressure injury, which is stage 2 or above, outperformed the vendor's national benchmark statistic and the comparison cohort for the majority of 8 quarters on 100% of your units. The third exemplar is related to CLABSI, or central line associated bloodstream infections, where again you outperform the national benchmark statistic for the majority of 8 quarters on 100% of your units. The fourth is in your ambulatory setting for the nurse-sensitive clinical indicator, falls with injury. That good work outperformed the benchmark statistic for the majority of 8 quarters on 100% of those settings. The fifth exemplar is that the infusion therapy unit for the nurse-sensitive clinical indicator adverse drug reaction to Ritulin in special practice data outperformed the benchmark statistic for all 8 quarters of data submitted. The sixth exemplar is that the unit level data for care coordination also outperformed the national benchmark statistic and the comparison cohort for the majority of 8 quarters on 100% of your units. The seventh exemplar is that your unit level data for courtesy and respect also outperformed the national benchmark statistic for the majority of 8 quarters on 100% of your units. Number 8 is your unit level data for responsiveness outperformed the national benchmark statistic for all of the quarters submitted. The ninth is that your unit level data for pain management outperformed the national benchmark statistic for for the majority of 8 quarters on 100% of your units. And the 10th exemplar is what I suspect is something you are all incredibly proud of, which is the wonderful work that you did during this pandemic. As we all know, about a year ago, March 15th of last year, the city of New York stopped elective surgeries. And your organization, which does a considerable amount of surgery, made an instant pivot to what I describe as pulling patients from other organizations, especially the alignment that you all created with your colleagues across the street at New York Presbyterian to really support them in the care of their initial work with COVID-19 patients. Your staff, Jennifer, during the site visit described the good work that everyone did as what they said was an almost overnight pivot of creating in transforming surgical suites to ICU wards, and that equipment and supplies that you all don't normally utilize in your practice, in your hospital, were instantaneously available so that you could take exceptional care of this new patient population. Staff described the interprofessional nature in the formation of wonderful teams to meet the needs not only for patients and families, but in the support of keeping each other safe during this time. In addressing the emotional impact that COVID-19 has had on, I would say, on all of us, I think we were also incredibly impressed that not only were you bringing patients into your organization and you learned very different clinical practice, but many of you redeployed to other hospitals in the city, supporting the care of patients, whether it was in ICUs, inpatient settings, or in emergency departments around your town. And staff can say to this day, they are receiving wonderful emotional support from everyone within the organization, that caring for each other has become a norm within your organization, and that you addressed all of the ethical dilemmas as well as the emotional dilemmas, and that you now have created a vaccination clinic where you're supporting that new work, which is what I'm calling finally the road to hope, helping to get patients vaccinated in your community. So quite wonderful work. And I want to thank you for also publishing this good work with that Springer link to your article, Clinical Experience with COVID-19 at a Specialty Orthopedic Hospital Converted to a Pandemic Overflow Field Hospital. So congratulations, and truly thank you, colleagues, for everything that you have been doing this past year, but what you continue to do for everyone within your community, and again, for each other. I'm praying that we all are going to get to go to the Magnet Conference in Atlanta in November, where, as you know from your prior experience, you will be recognized and celebrated as we honor this year's Magnet designated hospitals. So Jennifer and colleagues, be well, reflect on your good work. You should be very proud of everything that you are doing.
Well, thank you very much. We're delighted and appreciative of the call today. It's been an overwhelming year, and certainly very proud of this organization and the resiliency and the ability to transform as they've done over the last year. So I'm just very proud, and I hope everyone on the call can take this moment. As you said, it's a moment of joy, pride, and the amazing work that this team has done and continues to do. So thank you.
Thank you. Use this day to thank each other and to continue to look at how to be safe. Be well, colleagues. Thank you all for getting on a call so early this morning. Again, congratulations and best wishes.